So would you say like your father is one of the main reasons that you went into soccer, or your older brothers is one of the main reasons that you went into soccer? Because as children, we are influenced by our elders or people we've idolized, you understand? So would you say they were your idols?
Honestly speaking, I won't say my dad or my brothers were the idols back then, because growing up we had this magazine. It was called the Kiosk magazine. So whenever you get hold of that magazine, the people that you see in the magazine, the profiles that you read about, the likes of Mohamed Osep and Robert Nosep, they were the ones playing for Kaizer Chiefs at the time. So when I started school, it was 1998. I think they were also part of the 1998 squad that qualified Namibia to the African Nations Cup. So we're only reading about these guys playing football. We used to call each other those names of the likes of Mohammed them in the streets. So they were the idols back then. And then I think they were the idols. Not because I didn't see my dad playing. So the ones that we saw playing was the idols at the time.
Now who like your friends that you used to play with? What did they call you by? Like what was your soccer name back then? Like
They used to call me Slice, so the name of Mohammed. So it's funny enough, I never played that position. But I don't know how it came up with that name. But I used to, in my room back home, I used to have a lot of pictures of Mohammed. This is up on my wall. So I think they thought he was my idol. He was the player that I wanted to be. So they used to call me Slice back then. But then as I grew up, and then that's now where I found out that Lolo is also my brother. So now the shift changed from Mohammed to Lolo. So I'm an attacking player and my brother is also this attacking player. So the shift changed from being a defensive player to an attacking player.
And I believe this is something that you can attest to. Soccer is a game that has a lot of pressure because you have normal day matches and then you also have rivalries or tournaments or like a final. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How do you mentally and physically prepare for such things? Because at times a lot of players can quake under the pressure with making the wrong passes here and there. But then it takes a certain type of composure to actually deliver the proper pass or deliver a world-class performance. How would you say you prepare for matches and tournaments?
I think a younger Awilo would have been under pressure, like you said, making a few mistakes here and there. But then as you grow, you get the experience knowing how to handle such big tournaments and games coming up. So I think for me as an experienced player by now, what I mostly do or normally do is get enough sleep, stay away from social media, and then just not to see what people are expecting from you as a player, that they normally want you to be on the best form. So for me, just to stay off social media, just to get enough rest, and then come game time, I think you are ready, focused, and switch on.
Like on the side of social media, I've also seen that you want someone who posts a lot. You post here once in a while, especially in 2023 is when you are posting a lot. But then currently it has become quiet on like it's more quiet. Would you say you are a reserved person?
Not really. I think the posting back in 2023 was, as we all know, there was this saga between me and the national team coach. Why is he not being called, and why is because I've been the top goal scorer at the time and whatnot. As a player, yourself, you are doing something or you are trying your best, and then the person that you want to see the best out of is not realizing what you're doing, or is just ignoring your talent or your hard work. So for me, I think it was just frustration at the time. Hence the posting was always there, trying to calm yourself down, all the negatives out there. And then, that was basically it. But then when it comes to posting, like you said, I think I'm more of a reserved person.
So like we said, pressure, like a younger Awila would have probably made a few bad mistakes in a big game. You're older now, you have more experience, you have been in the game for a while, and you've experienced a lot of stuff. But what would you say is what has been the most challenging about your football journey, and how have you overcome this challenge? Because there's a lot that goes on in football, man.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes on in football. I think, and this is something that I haven't opened up to anyone yet. I think if you look at my career back in 2012. There was a time, I think I was still 21, 22 at the time. There was an invitation from Sundowns. That time I was still playing for Black Africa at the time. Due to the fact that most of the clubs didn't have proper offices, access to internet, or quality internet, I think Sundowns could not reach out to me, but then they had to go around some people they know. But then unfortunately, by the time the invitation reached out to me, it was already too late. And as a youngster, having idols like Teko Modise playing for Sundowns, and then you want to be like this guy, and then you get an invitation from a club like Sundowns, and then because of clubs not being on the standard of other other countries, the move did not materialize. So I think that was one of the challenges that I had to face. Imagine back in 2012, I could have made that move
to Sundowns.
Yeah, to Sundowns. Yeah, where would I have been now? So, but then on the other hand as well, you also have a few players, youngsters looking up to you, because I was also part of the national team already. So you have to keep a certain performance and just to inspire the next generation out there as well.
So, like you said, you're an attacking player. And attacking players, like, when you look at Europe, attacking players are afraid of Virgil van Dijk. I'm using this example because I'm a big Liverpool fan. I'm using this as
Trust me, I'm also scared of him.
Exactly, because when you come up to a figure like Virgil van Dijk, you are scared, man, as a younger player even, because now you're like, how do I get past him, because he's a brick wall. Who would you say has been, like, in your whole footballing career, who would you say has been the toughest defender that you've come up against them, and were you able to maneuver past them, or did you just get blocked down and you're like, sharp, it's clinkies?
Yeah, no, funny enough, I mentioned Mohammed when I started off with it. I think when I joined Black Africa back then, I think Mohammed was still playing, and then he came back and then he was playing for Orlando Pirates locally. So imagine playing against someone that has been your idol for so long. And now all of a sudden you are facing this guy. It's just you're just starstruck. Imagine you have to try and pass this guy, and then at the same time he's also an idol. So you don't want to embarrass him as well as a youngster that's trying to get into the scene of football. So I think he was one of the players that gave me a tough time. And then Richard Karisep as well, the coach of Okanya United. Yeah, and then also I have a brother that also played for Pirates, Steven. So the Pirates defense back then, it was a defense that everybody was scared of.
Yeah, so like there's a lot that goes into like what's facing your idol, especially because now you are starstruck. You're like, Eshabwe, there's the person that I idolize, and then there's their footballing ability and also not wanting to embarrass him. So I would understand why that would be such a challenge for you, but it's okay. You have been able to continue with your career. You have perfected your craft, and now you're just one of the biggest players. Now you're back into the national team. But you said you have friends in football also. Yeah. You have friends in football. You also have friends outside. But one person that I'm going to be putting the spotlight on is Jocelyn Kamatuka. What goes on there? Because there's a sort of a bromance between the two of you, and the people just want to know.
It's actually a funny story because back then when we all started playing football for the Premier League clubs in Windhoek, I never even knew Jocelyn existed because I was friends with his brother, his older brother, Sean Kamatuka. So we were more close. But now, when Jocelyn found out that we're actually the same age, where there's just a month between us, he started asking my brothers around because we stay in the same location as well. So he started asking around, what's the difference between him and me? We are playing the same position, but this guy is so popular on a young age, and I want to be like him. That's him trying to get closer to me through my brothers. And then later on, we were called up for the national team by Coach Manetti, and then we were put in one room. So like this players that were the same age were staying in one room, so we were in one room. So that's where it all started. So from there onwards, we were like very close friends up until later on we started calling each other cousins. So like now we are cousins.
Yeah. So you started off as youngsters and was his friends from a young age, and it has just carried out throughout both of your footballing careers, and it's still going strong. But yeah, we have youngsters in Namibia. We have youngsters in Namibia who look up to you, who look up to Jocelyn, who look up to the likes of Peter Shalolile. And you also have a few ballers in the African Stars Academy, and also that are part of the squad. How do you, as the senior player now, as someone who has been in the game for so many years, what role do you play in their development, or how do you inspire or give them advice when it comes to perfecting their craft also?
Yeah, I think if you look at our current squad at Stars, we have a lot of youngsters that are actually quite good players. But it's just, I believe in action than showing action. So for me, I don't really use a lot of words when it comes to advising those youngsters. So I just believe in doing the right thing, and then for them to look up to me or see what I do different from the other players, the other senior players as well. I think one thing that I can testify to is I always tell them, if you come to training, always be ready before the coach comes. Get your boots on, whatever it may be, and then just show the coach that you are ready for it. Because whenever the call comes that you need to go in, you are ready. Instead of just being there, relaxed, waiting for the team to lead maybe 3-4-0 before you can go in and do something. So for me, it's just action. I'm just a role model for them by showing them the right thing.
So basically, what you're telling me is you want them to look at your example, especially when you're on the field, for how to get past a certain defender or how to act during a high pressure situation, and then they have to implement your game into their game.
Their game, yes. Because like I said, there's a lot of youngsters that are quite good ballers at Stars as well, and you can see here and there are glimpses that they are showing that they can be the next big thing in our local football. So it's just like I said, just being a good example for them, doing the right thing, and then from there it's up to them to, especially and then obviously the discipline as well, on and off the pitch, because that's one thing that we as the local players or footballers in general are struggling with, our discipline, especially off the field, what we do when we are not on the pitch. So I think that's one thing that I always preach on, the discipline.
Thank you so much for joining me in studio today, because it was I used to want to be a baller back in the day, but then the knees just didn't allow me, man. The knees didn't allow me, but of course I still watch the game. I still watch the game heavily. I still watch you on the pitch. I still watch a lot of ballers, like Namibian soccer, for example. I'm an op when it comes to like football, because I'm an FC Ongos fan, but I still support the Graph regardless of whether we are rivals or not. But I would honestly just like to say thank you for joining me in studio today. And if there is something that you would like to say to an aspiring wonder kid who is currently listening, what would it be?
I think there's just one saying that I go by each and every day, and it's like, I just tell myself, disappointments overshadow your dreams of tomorrow. So whatever disappointments that you had today or yesterday, don't let it overshadow your dreams of tomorrow. So if you can go by that, I think there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
But of course, we've come to the end of our interview with the big man himself, Willy Stephanus. And of course, we're going to be going back into the music with the sounds of La Toya Stella with Antenna.